Ladies and gentlemen of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, here we are yet again for Sunday Night Heat. Oh, it is another glorious evening of action and warfare as I, your Redeemer, TC Adams, your reigning, defending, undisputed green ticket champion, your future uncrowned world champion, is here to call all the action, but I cannot do it alone. I cannot. So I have to bring on my very, very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Brother Ambrose.
Thank you, TC.
You're welcome. Wasn't that a beautiful introduction for you? Huh? I worked really hard on that this week.
We can tell. I've got a bit of a headache, so let's just get this over with.
Oh, a bit of a headache. Come on. You just got merely a flesh wound from JC Renegade. You haven't really gotten the full brunt of him, haven't you?
The kid needs help. I'll say that.
Well, we all understand that. And ladies and gentlemen who are tuning in live, watching your Redeemer in this man, will have the opportunity to comment in the comment section, have your voices heard on the show. It is a jam-packed episode. Where are we this week? I don't even recall or remember where we are.
You gotta lay off the booze, TC.
Whoa. I think we're in Brooklyn. I think that's where the show is, right? We're in Brooklyn. I hate New York. That's probably why I don't remember it too well. Oh, look at here. Look. JC Renegade's already in the comment section already. No help, just demons. What do you say to that, Brother Ambrose?
Well, if I recall correctly, I believe I said the boy needs help. And is he saying he just needs his demons?
Or does he need his demands?
There is a history there between him and D-Man Smoke.
Well, good thing that JC began his conversation with us this morning and you brought him up, or this evening. It's been a long day. Mornings and nights are all the same. They're blending together. But tonight we opening up our show with JC Renegade taking on this very strong veteran, former world heavyweight champion Jack Frost in a one-on-one warfare. I don't know why I'm doing an accent. Went backwards in my evolution here, but that's okay. The atmosphere in the arena is thick with tension as Sunday Night War logo fades from the screen and replaced by a grim visual of JC Renegade. Look at that face. Look at that face as he is entering the arena. He certainly doesn't look like an individual who has seen his significant other in recent memory or days. There is no swagger in his walk, no high fives. He is talking to himself. His eyes are bloodshot, swatting at the air as if he's trying to clear the thick fog. In the ring stands Jack Frost, getting the jobber entrance of the night. He's getting the jobber entrance as he deserves it. The veteran looked pained, not from injury, but just watching the man he once known since day one lose his grip on reality. The bell rings. The contrast is jarring. Jack Frost moves with deliberate heavy steps of seasoning gunslinger, and Renegade, however, is vibrating. When he finally locks up, Frost easily overpowers him, shoving Renegade back into the turnbuckle, but instead of firing back, Renegade just collapses into a crouch. He is actively no-selling all the attacks that Jack Frost is laying on him. He's clutching at his temples, his knuckles white pressed against his head, with his hands against his skull. And the referee moves in to check on him, but Frost waves him off, stepping forward to pull his friend up. Jack is screaming at JC, "Get it together, JC!" As Frost is yelling right at his face. His voice is picking up by the ring mics. He hits a stiff overhead chop, and as he's doing it as a wake-up call, right? He's just whack, hitting him right in the head, but Renegade stumbles back. His eyes are wide and vacant, staring at the corner of the ring where no one is standing. Now, listen. Jack Frost is in some zone right now. Same as JC Renegade. They're in some sort of zone. Frost sees that Renegade is just visibly not there. He's gone. And the only way to end this match, he begins to perform a veteran clinic on him. Frost executes a series of knee drops to the neck, trying to keep Renegade on the mat and away from the voices. He's trying to penetrate his ears. He's trying to help JC in a way, right?
The boy needs help. We're all saying it.
He needs a lot of help as Jack Frost hoists Renegade up for a massive delayed vertical suplex, holding him in the air for a full 10 seconds. Have you held someone in the air for 10 seconds? I haven't.
That's a long time. That's
pure strength from Jack Frost as the crowd is counting along with him. Jack is having fun here. Occasionally, we see Renegade snap back into it, and he lands a desperate, jagged back elbow with a fury of strikes that lack his usual technical precision, but feels more like a man fighting for his life in a dark alley. But every time he gains momentum, he screams that the sirens are back. This boy is hurting right now. He will stop mid-run, covering his ears, allowing Frost to floor him, not with an elbow, but with a big boot to the face. Ooh. Renegade finds one last burst of adrenaline. He manages to trip up Frost and scales the turnbuckle, screaming at the rafters. He leaps from a diving crossbody, but Frost catches him midair, rolls through, stands him up, and Renegade stumbles back, completely disoriented, swinging with a wild hook that Frost easily ducks out of the way, and Renegade spins around, but Frost is already in full flight. He levels Renegade with an icicle lariat. Woo! That stiff lariat of Jack Frost, the collision of the pure physics. Renegade is turned inside out, whose boots hitting the top rope before he collapses in a heap. Jack Frost covers him for the 1, the 2, the 3. Jack Frost, the veteran, wins, but there is no celebration. Frost immediately tosses his cowboy hat, which he was wearing the whole time, and kneels over Renegade, looking genuinely terrified for his friend's sanity. The SMW officials bring over water, but Frost pushes him away. He wants to be the one to help Renegade. He hooks Renegade's arms over his shoulder, pulling him to his feet. For a second, it is a beautiful moment of sportsmanship. Frost pulls him up into a hug, patting him on the back, likely telling him that they're going to get help. And as soon as he mentioned that word help, brother, as soon as he instantly said that word help, the snap, it was instantaneous. They break the embrace. Renegade's face contorts into a mask of pure malice before Frost can even draw a breath. Renegade grabs him by the head and cowboy cutter. Woo! He hits a cowboy cutter. The ring boards groan under the impact. The crowd erupts in boos. Boos and boos. But Renegade doesn't hear them. He's listening to those voices again. He crawls over to Jack Frost's body, mounting him just like he did Brother Ambrose last week. You didn't like that. And he pulls his head back, bracing it to deliver the sickening bone-on-bone headbutts that left Brother Ambrose a bloody mess. A
I don't
bloody
know.
mess.
That's how I would describe it, but okay.
Ooh, you wouldn't describe it that way?
We saw it a little differently, but that's fine.
Not again, screams the announcers as a blur of black fabric streaks down the ramp. It's Brother Ambrose! Still sporting the bandages from the last assault. He slides into the ring like a lightning bolt. He tackles Renegade off of Jack Frost with a spear that sends them both tumbling towards the rope. Renegade doesn't stay to fight. He scrambles to his feet, eyes darting wildly looking at Ambrose as he's seeing a ghost. He rolls out of the ring and sprints through the timekeeper's area, disappearing into the dark tunnels of the arena, while Ambrose stands over the fallen Jack Frost, pointing at a trembling finger at the exit. Woo! What an opening contest.
Have you ever seen, you may have seen it in the movies, when one has a demon and they're being exorcised with holy water, how they flee, how they can't handle it. I think that's what we're seeing tonight with JC Renegade. The boy has demons. I'm trying to help, and the demons cannot help but run this poor kid out of the arena rather than letting him face what needs to be faced.
He looks like he's eyeing you, right? Just know I can do worse to you, Brother Ambrose. And he says, I want Brother Ambrose. Do you think that you two can have a match, a one-on-one match at the pay-per-view next week?
I'm game. The boy, like we've said it multiple times tonight, he needs help. There's something deeply flawed within him.
Oh,
and I've tried to heal him. I've tried to talk to him. And at this point, if he just needs to have that demon beat out of him, that's what we'll do.
oh my gosh, we have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We have breaking news at Breaking Point. It is official from the desk of Lorenzo Benzo. It is official. It is Brother Ambrose taking on JC Renegade. It is official. Oh, I cannot wait for that match. It is going to be epic. Epic.
JC, you will see the light.
We have Craig Harris also in the comments as well. Brain Freeze 316. The Jack Frost is whooping that ass. He did. He got the victory in that disgusting Dallas Cowboys jersey that he's wearing right there, too.
That is almost as ugly as those New England Patriots jerseys.
Whoa! 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 You're going to talk to the future world heavyweight champion like that?
How'd they do last Sunday?
Let's not talk about it, okay? They are not the world champions, but I will be the future world heavyweight champion, despite what that disgusting lunatic of a man has done over the recent weeks, causing me torment. He was inside my house, Brother Ambrose.
Have you checked around the place?
I have on-call, on standby security in my home as we speak to make sure that this lunatic, this wide-eyed Neanderthal who thinks he's better than me, to make sure he is not on my property ever again. You saw he was this close to my children. This close. You know what I would have done if he would have put his hands on my children?
He seems to have got your number there, TC.
Oh, whoa. Oh, yeah. See, thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you. Looking at the pressing charges, you know what? I've already done it. I've already put my money into him being locked up and thrown away the key because he does not deserve to be on this planet anymore. He doesn't deserve to be here.
I'm just curious what cage you think could contain this Korean werewolf.
When I get my hands on him. But first, he has his hands full as he's going one-on-one with El Guapo, the number one contender to the Hardcore Championship.
And
this
the baddest man in the squared circle. This will be something.
A slobber knocker to be had. The bells clang, echoing through the arena like a death toll. Kwon Su and El Wapo don't circle, they collide. The ring floor groans under the combined weight of these two titans.
Big boys.
El Wapo's the baddest man in the squared circle, strikes first with the furious punches that matches his reputation, unloading a series of heavy-handed chops that sound like gunshots to the chest of the Korean werewolf. He catches Kwon Su off guard with a devastating spin heel kick, sending the powerhouse reeling into the turnbuckles. But El Wapo, who I'm cheering on in this match, is relentless, sensing a quick victory to solidify his status, as he should, as a number one top contender in this place. He crushes Kwon Su with a running hip smash into the corner, the impact vibrating through the front rows of the arena. He makes a cover, hooking the legs deep for the 1, the 2, but Kwon Su kicks out with such force that he nearly launches El Wapo across the ring. The tide begins to turn when Kwon Su catches a charging Wapo by the throat. The arena goes silent when the werewolf lifts this massive challenger into the air, holding them there for a beat of pure dominance before slamming him down with a full moon choke slam. Wapo's spine bounces off the canvas, and the air leaves his lungs in a sickening gasp. Kwon Su goes for the pin, but Wapo somehow finds the rope, his finger barely grazing the bottom rope to break the count. This is how physical this match has been. Just the atmosphere in the building shifts. At the top of the ramp is the silhouette of your Redeemer. TC Adam appears, flanked by his massive yet beautiful dump truck and the smirking yet handsome good-looking guy, the hardcore champion Gully Guns, and they stand as a wall that redirect hate watching this carnage happen. Kwon Su, seeing the redeemed, allows Wapo one last opening as Wapo delivers a crushing Samoan drop and climbs to the top rope as he screams a warning call straight at Gully, signaling that the title as good as his. He leaps for El Drapo, and as he descends, Kwon Su rolls out of the way. Wapo misses the mark. His lead shoulder and collarbone slamming directly into the hardwood ring floor. A sickening pop echoes through the silence as Wapo rolls away, clutching at his arms, his face contorted with agony. He is done. The medical team is coming out, putting up the X's to saying that he is done. He is finished. But Kwon Su isn't looking for a win. He is looking for an absolute sacrifice. This guy is a madman, Lorenzo. Kwon Su backs into the corner, fixes his eyes on your Redeemer, TC Adams, as Wapo staggers, clutches his shattered shoulder, as Kwon Su explodes with a hunt, connected for the first time. A spear so violent, he rolls Wapo backwards like a rag doll, and the crowd gasps, expecting the pin, but Kwon Su stands back up. He stalks to the corner again as Wapo crawls on his hands and knees, coughing. Kwon Su strikes again. A second hunt. A mad man. The referee, the hunt destroys whatever's left of Wapo's ribs. Kwon Su finally crawls over the broken body, pressing one hand on Wapo's chest while staring a hole through TC Adams. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. I thought the match was over, but I guess the bell rang, barely inaudible over the tension, as the medical staff is now running to the ring, sliding a backboard under Wapo, fitting a neck brace under him, trying to stabilize him, shouting to clear a path. And Kwon Su is standing in the corner, watching them work with a predatory stillness. Then he looks at your Redeemer, TC Adams, and smiles before the medics can lift the stretcher. Kwon Su charges. He shoves two MTs aside and launches himself one more time. A third brutal spear of all time, driving Wapo and the backboard that he was strapped to into the turnbuckle, and the backboard splinters. The medical equipment snaps. Well, Wapo's body goes completely limp as the staff backs away in horror as Kwanzaa stands amidst of the wreckage and the medical gear pointing at the ramp. Al Wapo, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, Al Wapo is now out of his hardcore championship match against Gully Guns at Breaking Point.
You hate to see that. I mean, we know that what we do, this is a violent sport. It's tough. We've seen it tonight. We've seen it in our first matchup. We've seen it tonight, but nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see one of our competitors get hurt. And Wapo knows a thing about being hardcore, and this match was hardcore is an understatement, TC.
This is a man who I don't respect anymore. I used to love Kwanzaa like a brother. All right. Him and I are former tag team champions, and now he has unleashed this kind of brutality. All for what? Because I put his head through a sledgehammer, right? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the history between Kwanzaa and I, it is simple. It is super simple. All right. We were tag team champions, and then he walked out on me. And then when Smoky Mountain went on its hiatus and we got back together, I found myself a new home, a new family to believe in me. And he wasn't part of the picture anymore. And he was jealous. I'm just saying.
Strong words, TC. Strong words.
Oh, I'm getting word that Kwanzaa was caught up to by our special reporters backstage. Let's hear from Kwanzaa.
Let's see it.
Pardon me, fellas. I don't mean to interrupt your little circle jerking session that you've got going on here. Except for you, Brother Ambrose. I don't really have a problem with you, so you're pretty okay in my book, but I'm talking about the other two morons sitting on this screen. Gunner, I'll get to you in a second. TC, do you enjoy my house call? Do you like it? I saw you get a little fired up. Still not as mad as I've seen you before. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make it quick. You're delusional, and you don't have a single fucking brain cell, TC. You think I'm doing all of this to get to your damn championship that you don't even have? You have a green ticket title. You don't have the world championship yet. And as long as I'm breathing and have air in my lungs, you will never have it. You want to get pissed off because I showed up to your house? You want to get pissed off because I mentioned your wife and your kids? And you think all of this is because I'm jealous when you can't open your own damn eyes and see the truth for yourself? And this is where I'm ashamed of you, Gunner, for following a man like this. TC, you have always been jealous of me. Who is the one who turned on who initially? That's right, it was you. You hit me with a fucking truck. You tried to take me away from... You tried to take me away from people that love me. You want to talk about having people that love you? I loved you. You want the truth, TC? Who had your back before anybody else? That's right, it was me. This isn't over some damn championship, and it's not over some fucking jealousy, at least not on my part, but it is on yours. You are paranoid. You took me out. You almost killed me. Because you thought that I was going to do it to you first, when I wasn't even thinking about you. I promised you And when I make promises, I keep them. I said I would be your worst nightmare. I said I would bring hell to your life and I would take it all from you. And I meant every damn bit of it. You made this personal when you took years off my career, when you took months away from the people that I care about the most. You did this. You did this. Don't gaslight. And Gunner, you and I have some history. And when we fought before, you won. But back then, you were a man I respected. I don't respect you anymore. And so, on my mission to bring TC to his knees, I want to reclaim a belt, a championship that I made famous, that I brought back from the grave, that I treated as important as the world championship itself, that I fought tooth and nail just to get. I lost sight in my damn eyes to get that title, and to watch TC just give it to you made me sick. And so I'm going to take it from you. If you've got the balls, Gunner, you, me, round two. But since you, like you, if you've got the balls, Gunner, you, me, round two. But since you, like the Southern aesthetic, we'll make it a Texas bull rope match. And by the time I'm done with you, your face, your body will be unrecognizable, and I will take back my hardcore title. That's up to you to accept it, if you got the balls, bitch.
Wow. What delusion from Kwansu. All right. What delusion from Kwansu. You know what? I'm going to allow Gunner, my beautiful hardcore champion, who has earned the right to be hardcore champion. I'm going to give him the opportunity to respond. Brother Ambrose, are you okay with hearing from your hardcore champion right now?
I think we should hear from him. Kwansu had a lot to say, and he came at it hard, and I am curious to hear what the hardcore champion has to say in reply.
All right. I got it right here.
Hello, Wolfie boy. Or is it the boogeyman nowadays? Whatever you're calling yourself, I knew it was a matter of time for your ass started sniffing in my direction. So you want your legacy back. You're disappointed in me because it was handed to me, gifted, just easily, right in my hands. And you had to work your ass off to establish it, to get it. And let me tell you what I feel about your little story, your little come up. It don't mean a damn thing to me. So you want a Texas bull rope match? You want to take your focus off TC, thy Redeemer. And that's fine. You don't need to worry about the Redeemer because you are on. And whether it's in Texas or any location they see fit. Be careful what you wished for.
That is my man, my hardcore champion. And come on, Lorenzo, make it official. Give Kwanzaa what he thinks he wants, a one-on-one match.
Go ahead and check your earpiece, TC, because Lorenzo did just send us a message.
It's official! Yes! Yes! It is official. You have signed your death certificate, Kwanzaa, because the gunner is going to clean up.
That will not be an easy match for either of them. Let's be honest, though. That is a tough match against the simplest of opponents. But between these two, who are known for being hardcore, that'll be a bloody mess.
I hope it's a massacre as my gunner takes care of a problem. A problem. You know who else is a problem? Craig Harris. Craig Harris is a problem. Listen, get off the internet, Craig, all right, and go back to your Twitch streaming, okay? And then JC Renegade has said this. Remember talking about getting stuff handed to me. Let's take a look at this, TC. What am I taking a look at? I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it? Delusional. He needs help. You're going to help him, though, right?
He's hearing things. He's seeing things.
And you're going to help him.
I'll do my best. The boy needs help.
Speaking of Craig Harris and his loser-looking body and his lame Twitch streams, along with other members of our roster, they are in a battle royal for the number one contendership to my beautiful dumptrucks.com King Championship. Look at this lineup.
This will be a match. I am excited to hear and see what's going on with this. I don't know when I've been so excited to see such a, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, such an array of different styles all in the same ring at once. This should be a masterclass.
It's certainly a collective group of excellent jobbers here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. But as the bell rings, the Sunday Night War descends into a deeper chaos than we've ever been. 6 men stood in the square circle, but one will leave as the number one contender to the .com King Championship. Casey Luchador, fueled by delusion and a sense of heroism, immediately strikes a pose. Iconic pose. He marched towards the center of the ring, locked eyes with the two largest people in the ring, Brandon Buck and David Hill. Channeling the spirit of the Giants, Casey Luchador reaches up and grabs them both by the throat, attempting a double choke slam, but he groaned. Sorry, I laugh about that because I can imagine this all happening. I'm seeing it all happen right in front of me. He groaned, his face turning a deep shade of red. I don't know how you can see that from beneath the mask, but you can. But the two men did not even move an inch. David Hill looked down at a sigh of annoyance at his tag team partner and gave KC Luchador a simple yet dismissive shove that sent the masked man tumbling through the ropes to the floor while Casey stood outside to calculate his next move. David Hill decided to prove that he was more than just a stepping stone, as he will always be. As Craig Harris charged in, Hill caught him midair, hoisting him high before crashing him down with a thunderous sidewalk slam that made the ring boards bounce. This is a display of pure power as the big man, but made him an immediate target. David Hill is not a small dude. Not a small dude. Not a small dude. Across the ring, the air turned cold as Hayden Six and Ro Bear, who have been at verbal war over the last few weeks or few days, they finally collided. There was no wrestling, only grudge. They traded heavy cross-fisted strikes, moving like two-man hurricanes towards the turnbuckle. Their hatred for one another was so blinding that they became oblivious to the match happening around them. Seeing the danger, David Hill posed. Brandon Buck recovered Craig Harris to form a temporary silent alliance. This is also an alliance I wouldn't mind seeing in real life.
It would be interesting.
What would he call them? Aren't they both from the Kansas City area? I can't remember.
I think Craig's from Nebraska.
You might be right. Some other podunk town out in the Midwest.
Corn.
Corn lovers. Long way. Corn. Anyway, they swarmed the big man, backing him against the ropes. The Casey Luchador hopped back onto the apron, but stayed there, frantically adjusting his mask and refusing to get his hands dirty. I love his tactics. I love his ways. He makes me laugh. With a collective heave, Brandon Buck and Craig Harris finally tipped the scale, sending the massive mastodon David Hill tumbling over the top rope to the floor. Woo! The first.
Feel that vibrating still.
Yeah, I can feel it right here. The ring began to empty rapidly. Casey Luchador finally stepping back inside the ring, still gloating over his tag team partner's elimination, and he didn't see the brawl coming his way. Hayden Six and Robert, still locked in a death grip, stumbled blindly across the canvas. They crashed into Casey like a freight train, sending the Luchador flying back over the top rope and out of the match. Dang, I hate to see that happen. This brewing blood feud between Hayden and Robert reached its inevitable end seconds later. The two bitter rivals, who didn't know they were rivals until tonight, fought their way into the narrow apron, trading blows precariously high above the concrete. Neither cared about the championship anymore. In the final act of mutual spite, they grabbed one another around their necks and tumbled backwards together, hitting the floor with a sickening thud, and continued fighting all the way to the backstage area. Man, these two were in the Redeemed, and now I see why I got rid of them. I wasn't sure at first, but now I see it now.
They forgot there was a match going on, and they just focused on each other, and that you can't be making those mistakes at this point in the game.
Bro. Yeah, exactly. So after seeing that nonsense happen, the arena fell into a tense silence as the dust settled. The floor was littered with the fallen, leaving only two men standing in the squared circle: the gritty veteran Craig Harris and the powerhouse Brandon Buck. Harris didn't wait for Buck to catch his breath. He moved towards with surgical precision of a man who knew exactly how to decimate a giant. He lunged forward, catching Buck with a series of stiff, calculated European uppercuts that snapped Buck's head backwards, each strike sounding like a whipped car crash happening. Harris followed up by dropping to the canvas, sweeping Buck's legs with a brutal kick that brought the big man down to just one knee. Sensing the end, Craig scrambled to the corner, waited for Buck to stagger up, and then charged across the ring to take Buck's head off with a running lariat. But Buck didn't go down. He absorbed the blow, stumbling back against the ropes. Harris hit him again, then a third time, each clothesline more desperate than the last. The veteran was throwing everything he had. The ring was shaking with every impact as Buck wobbled precariously near the edge. Harris backed up for one final run, looking to send Buck tumbling over the top rope to the floor. He sprinted full speed, but Buck caught him mid-charge. Instead of a power move, Buck used Harris's own momentum against him. He sidestepped the charge, hooked Harris's arm, and spun him around with a devastating short arm clothesline. The impact nearly flipped Harris inside out. As the veteran dazed and staggered, leaning blindly against the rope, Buck did not hesitate. He let out a roar and charged across the ring and connected with a thunderous cactus clothesline. The force of the collision was so great that both men went over the top rope together, and for a heartbeat, the crowd held its breath. Both men were falling, but Buck's massive hands gripped the top rope at the last possible second that he dangled there, and his boots merely inches from the concrete while Craig Harris crashed down to the floor with a vein-popping effort. Buck pulled himself back onto the apron and stepped back into the ring as the sole survivor and number one contender to the .com King Championship, Brandon Buck. Crazy match.
What an ending.
What I don't understand about this matchup, I mean, I know it's for a number one contendership to a championship, but Casey Luchador and David Hill are tag team partners, yet Casey Luchador was laughing hysterically about David Hill.
Well, as we will see in just a few moments, we know that tag team partners do not always see eye to eye. And sometimes when they're faced against one another, you do what you have to do.
And listen, I don't know if Lorenzo Benzo is still there at the truck. I don't know if he's still listening on, but I want to see Hayden and Robert tear each other apart some more. Okay, nothing makes me more happy than seeing these two Neanderthal losers destroy each other.
I mean, based on the conversations they've been having backstage, based on the promos they've cut, based on what we've seen this match, I think the only way that this ends is for one of them to end one another. It's coming to a head. It has to.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I don't like agreeing with you. In this next match,
good to be right, doesn't it?
For once, you're allowed to be right. At least once during the show, you're allowed to be right. In this next matchup, though, this is my bread and butter. I love this next matchup because it is Chase Havoc versus Reggie Walker with me, yours truly, as the special guest referee for this matchup. The winner goes on to take on me for the Green Ticket Championship at the pay-per-view. Neither men deserve a shot, but I am a gracious man.
Well, speaking of whatever sort of man you are, I don't think that it would be appropriate for you to call your own match. We already know that you have issues with how you recalled the events of things happening. So if you're okay with it, TC, I'm going to go ahead and let Smoky Mountain Wrestling and all of our fans know what happened during this match. So if you're able to, you get to just shut up for a while.
Just listen, I'm going to call this match right down the middle, and you know it.
And so we have it, Chase Havoc versus Reggie Walker. We have them with the special guest referee, T.C. Adams. Excuse me. And so the air in the arena was thick with tension that usually precedes a riot. We can feel it. We know something's going to happen tonight. And under that harsh glow of the house lights, we see Chase Havoc and Reggie Walker standing like statues with conflicted loyalty. These two weren't just opponents tonight. They were brothers in arms. They were a tag team forced into fratricidal war for the sake of the number one contender spot for T.C. Adams' title.
Well, before you go on, I just want to say I gave Chase an opportunity to claim that he wants this title more than Reggie. He, if you heard him correctly, was stuck on the fact that he wants to be tag team champions. Reggie Walker agreed with me. So who's the villain here? I'm just seeing it as I see it.
Speaking of seeing it as you see it, there you were circling the two of them like a vulture. Like a vulture dressed like a zebra wearing your referee stripes. The Green Ticket champion wore the official shirt not because you were the ref, but what appears to be as a mockery. Your eyes glinting with the sadistic joy of a man who loved watching friends tear each other apart. TC, I believe it was at this point that you hissed something over Chase's shoulder. What was it that you said to him?
I said fight, or I'll strip both of you of your spots right now, and I can have the night off.
And so, TC Adams, you said that. You signaled to the timekeeper, and the bell rang. And that is when the tragedy began, folks. This match started with a tentative lockup, but soon these brothers, their competitive spirits took over. We saw that Chase Havoc was a blur of motion, a technical wizard who used the ring's geometry to his advantage. He moved with a slick, calculated grace, sliding under Reggie's heavy strikes and catching him in a series of lightning-fast arm drags and rolling transitions. Reggie, however, if we want to say that Chase was the hammer, Reggie was the anvil to that hammer. He fought with a gritty, methodical violence. Again, folks, it has been violent tonight. When Chase tried to spring off the ropes, Reggie caught him midair, the air rushing out of Chase's lungs as he was driven spine first into that brutal knee of Reggie's. Whew. This battle continued on, and it intensified as Chase was able to create space. He was able to catch Reggie with a snap hurricanrana. Oh, I didn't even know Chase could move like that. And that sent this big man reeling into the corner. Chase then followed up with a running forearm, but as he went for a second, Reggie stepped out and trapped him within the turnbuckles, started to unload a fury of knife-edge chops. Oh, that hurts. Yeah. That echoed like stones hitting water like concrete. Chase, of course, gasping for air, ended up collapsing onto the mat, only for Reggie to then hoist him up for a high-angle suplex. Folks, I don't know if this looks good for Chase at this point, but Chase has proven me wrong before, as Chase shows his instincts. As much as we might make fun of him in the locker room, the boy knows wrestling, and he flipped out of this suplex midair. He landed on his feet and immediately snapped Reggie's head across the top rope. I don't know if that was legal. As Reggie stumbled back, Chase climbed up the turnbuckle looking for a high-risk aerial assault. Just as he reached the top, TC Adams accidentally tripped and hit the rope, shaking Chase off. Chase lost his balance, falling nuts first onto the metal turnbuckle support. Ooh, oh, I can feel that now. Ugh. TC, you shrugged at the crowd with a mock look of concern while Reggie capitalized on this moment. He pulled Chase down off the turnbuckle and into a devastating spinning sit-out powerbomb. Ugh. I can still feel it in my stomach. As the match reached a fever pitch, TC Adams, I hate saying it like this, but it's what happened. He began his psychological dismantling. Chase executed what looked to be a perfect standing maneuver, spiking Reggie right into the canvas. The crowd went wild. They were loving this. They're eating it up. But suddenly, TC, for some reason, thought his shoes were untied, and he became more interested in lacing up his boots. By this time, his hand had hit the mat for the count. Y'all, it was pointless. Reggie was already kicking out. It makes no sense. It was a terrible count, ref. Slow count. So then Reggie roared back up. He ended up hitting Chase with a devastating powerbomb, y'all, into what is a double knee lung blower. Oh, that sounds painful. And TC, he went down to make the count. But for some reason, his hand stopped about an inch from the canvas, claiming that he, quote-unquote, saw a phantom foot on the rope.
Seen it.
I mean, you're starting to sound like JC. JC, TC, is there a connection there? Both
Never.
are seeing stuff that ain't happening. So TC, as the ref, stood over a frustrated Reggie, laughing under his breath. And I'm pretty sure you said something. What was that you said?
I said, not today, big man. Not today.
Which I'll be honest, at this point as a viewer, I'm a little confused as to who TC wants to win. First, he's giving Chase a hard time. Now he's giving Reggie a hard time. I think he just wants to see them have a hard time. But their desperation suddenly turned into brilliance. These two partners realizing, like I just said, that TC didn't care about who won, just wanting them to have a hard time, realized that this referee would not let a fair finish happen. And so they decided, Smoky Mountain Universe, that they wanted to give you a show. And so that's what they did.
Clowns.
They traded high-impact maneuvers that echoed throughout the rafters, throughout the buildings. You heard the chops, you heard the slaps, you heard the hits. Chase launched a desperate dive that sent both men over the barricade, only for Reggie to then drag him back and deliver a hanging neck breaker off of the apron. Oh, painful. They rolled back into the ring, both men bruised and gasping, trading forearms that honestly sounded like they were whopping each other with a, I don't even know, like a log or something. It just sounded painful. And I don't say this often. We mentioned the idea of masterpieces earlier tonight, but really this was a masterpiece of grit. They proved to every soul in that building tonight, other than maybe TC, that they believe they belong at the top, and they're going to fight for that top contendership. Just as Chase and Reggie pulled themselves up, leaning on one another for support, remembering that they are brothers, the trap snapped shut. TC Adams did not want a contender this night. Instead, he wanted to see a massacre. As the two partners, Chase and Reggie, stood side by side, turning their collective gaze towards the corrupt official, TC didn't flinch. Y'all, and I hate to report this, but TC looked at Reggie and he kicked him dead in the balls. And in that same fluid motion, I didn't know TC was this flexible. As he kicked Reggie in the balls, he then hammered Chase with a fist to the face. TC then grabbed Chase by the hair, dragging his face towards the canvas before delivering what can only be described as sickening, as he delivered a curb stomp that bounced poor Chase's head right off the mat. Reggie, doing the best he could, tried to scramble up to his feet, but he ended up being met with the same fate. Face meet mat. Mat meet face. TC's boot drove Reggie's skull into the floor with a sound that if you were in the front row, you were wincing. You shouldn't hear the human body make that sound. And for those of you that did have to hear that, I apologize, because that is something that'll stay with you. Of course, this assault was not enough for the champion. TC whistled towards the back, and out of Gorilla within seconds came Gully and Truck. Those two giant of men stomped down the aisle like a demolition crew, the Redeem flooding the ring as TC was barking orders, so that Dump Truck hoisted a limp Chase Havoc up and continued to beat him down. Finally, before another blow could land, the arena speakers exploded with a familiar yet haunting song. TC is familiar with this effect as the lights began flickering as Quan Su emerged on the ramp. The Korean werewolf did not hesitate. He stormed down the ramp with a terrifying and single-minded focus. Earlier, we saw that Quan Su had dismantled El Guapo so thoroughly that he had to be taken to the local hospital. And now that Guapo is out of the picture, this werewolf was clearly on the hunt for the man who was holding the hardcore championship and his boss. The momentum in the ring evaporated instantly. As soon as Quan Su came out, it was like you could hear a pin drop in the arena. Panic flickered across TC Adams' face. Boy, did he look stupid as he saw the beast charging his position. And of course, TC, being who he is, not wanting to be anywhere near Quan Su's reach, TC gave his boys the signal to bail. The Redeem ended up scrambling over the ropes, and they abandoned their victims just as Quan Su jumped up onto the apron. Y'all, the Redeem didn't just exit. They fled. They flew out of that building, retreating through the crowd in a desperate scramble to keep distance between themselves and the man who just had the baddest man in the square circle sent to the hospital. The Redeemed running out of the building with their tails tucked between their legs. TC Adams then, as he reached the top of the stairs, looked back with what I will only describe as a coward's grin. Returning to his face once he knew that he was out of range, Quan Su wouldn't be able to get him there. TC ended up ruining the match, y'all, and he tried to break up a brotherhood, but the hunger in the eyes of the Korean werewolf meant that this hunt was only just beginning. What an ending. What an ending. TC, you tried to break up a tag team. You tried to break up a brotherhood. How do you think that went for you?
I think it went according to plan. Because there was no result to this match. And I haven't heard from anyone from the back telling me that it's going to be anything. So I might have this pay-per-view off this week. And so I'm going to enjoy watching Dump Truck do his thing and dismantle Brandon Buck. I'm going to enjoy watching my Gunner take down that thing, Quan Su. And they're making me look like a coward, but I am not a coward. Listen, again, Craig Harris down here in the comments saying Big Daddy Quan got the whole Redeem running like Scooby-Doo. Nah, that's not how it is.
I don't know if they made you look like a coward as much as, if I'm honest, TC, let's have a minute of honesty here. You made you look like a coward.
When I get my hands on Quan Su,
you could have at the end of this match that you just.
When I get my hands on Quan Su, it's over for him. I promise you. I promise. It's a guarantee. And you know what else is a guarantee?
What is that?
A new superstar coming to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Let us see that video clip right now.
Let's see it.
The Dragon Queen coming to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Brother Ambrose, do you know who the Dragon Queen is?
I would like you to tell our audience so that they can get a picture of who she is.
The Dragon Queen is one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet when it comes to a wrestling ring. You can have the Queen, Alexia Payne, in her World Heavyweight Championship, but the Dragon Queen herself, I think is badder than the Queen.
I personally am excited to see her arrival. I'm excited to see what she brings to this mountain. I'm excited to, you know what happens when there's two queens? Somebody's getting their head chopped off. So it'll be interesting to see how the Dragon Queen and the Queen, how they run in the same sphere with one another. I'm excited.
It's great that you brought that up because the Queen is in action tonight as she is in a can they coexist type of match with her husband, They are former tag team champions. The Monarchy taking on the current tag team champions, Killing Cutter, Bootleg, Timu. Oh my gosh, those tag teams from Ring of Honor. Briscoes. Timo Briscoes. I can smell the menthols from here, brother. They are putting their tag team titles on the line against the World Heavyweight Champion for now and the number one contender to that championship, her husband, Beast Mode. In our main event, the arena hummed with anticipation as the announcer signaled to the start of the main event that felt more like a public execution than a title defense. While Killing Cutter held the tag team titles, the atmosphere shifted for just a moment as the Monarchy stepped through the ropes. The Queen, draped in absolute prestige of the World Heavyweight Champion, carried aura of total authority, while Beast Mode stood beside her like a tectonic plate waiting to shift. From the opening bell, the champions were fighting for survival against the sheer physical hierarchy of the challengers. Bubba Killings tried to establish a foothold early, but his strikes seemed to evaporate against Beast Mode's chest like rain on stone, like on a stone monument. Beast Mode, he was having it. He was ready. When Alan Cutter attempted to use his agility to find an opening, Beast Mode simply swatted him out of the air with a clubbing blow that sent the champion spiraling to the canvas. Have you been on the other end of that hand?
But it does sound like Alan Cutter just got beat like a three-legged dog.
Yeah, listen, he got beat like he stole something. Yeah. The Monarchy operated with cold efficiency of the elite. The Queen tagged in and out with surgical precision, using her status as a top of the food chain to dictate every second of the pace. She trapped Allen in the corner, delivering a series of knife-edge chops that echoed through the rafters like a heavy axe meeting an old oak, followed a disdain tossed across the ring that showed exactly how little she regarded the tag team specialist. Killing Cutter managed a brief but desperate glimmer of offense when they utilized their double team experience, catching Beast Mode with a high-low combination that finally brought the Titan to one knee. The scene, for a fleeting second, the champions looked to capitalize, but the momentum was short-lived. As they prepared for a tandem maneuver, the arena speakers erupted with the swelling sounds of your Redeemer, T.C. Adams, entering the arena.
We all know what it means when we hear that noise, y'all. The noise of the crowd suddenly was drowned out by what TC would describe as a triumphant golden melody of the redeemed. The crowd suddenly and vocally turned into a chorus of boos as Gully Guns, Dump Truck, and of course the green ticket champion, TC Adams, come running out of Gorilla, moving towards the ring like a quote-unquote divine invasion force, end quote. These fools didn't wait for an invitation, y'all. As they swarmed the apron and spilled into the ring, the referee, who was an actual official, unlike TC was, had no choice but to signal for the end of the match, calling it a DQ.
I didn't touch anyone.
The bell rang against the rising tide of the brawl. At this point, y'all, the bell was pointless. It rang to signal the match was over, but really, I think the match was just beginning. Excuse me. TC Adams stood in the center of the ring with a smug conductor look on his face of what he likes to call his holy chaos, but his symphony was cut short. Brandon Buck materialized out of the crowd, jumping over the barricade like a ghost with his eyes locked on Dump Truck. Before the big man could even begin to react, Buck tuned up the band and he delivered a thunderous, sweet chin music right onto Dump Truck's face. The super kick connecting flush with the side of with the side of Truck's head with the force of a falling anvil. Truck then crumpled into a heap on the floor, and the distraction was all the opening that, you guessed it, the Korean werewolf needed. He ignited from the opposite side of the ring, a blur of motion as he caught Gully Guns with the spear that he calls the Hunt. That spear drove Guns through the barricade with such violence that it broke the frickin' barricade, y'all. Ended up splintering it into tons of jagged shards, and Guns is buried under the wreckage. Left alone in a ring full of predators, T.C. Adams, I think you were feeling a bit like a prey or like a deer caught in the high beams there. You were caught in the lights with nowhere to run. TC tried to retreat, but he backed straight into the waiting arms of the champions that he had just robbed. Bubba Killings and Alan Cutter did not hesitate, y'all. They hoisted Adams high up and they drove him through the mat with a booming 3D. The impact left your boy, TC Adams, glassy-eyed and dazed. But the punishment was just beginning. Y'all, this is fun. They shoved TC Adams' limp body towards Beast Mode, who stepped into a V-trigger knee strike that snapped Adams's head straight back. It's almost like you could hear the Queen yelling, "Off with his head!" As TC wobbled onto his feet, the Queen then vaulted up onto his shoulders, her movements fluid and lethal as she snapped him down with, you guessed it, y'all, you heard it being called for, the off with your head scissors DDT, spiking his big old skull right into the canvas with what appeared to be an act of finality. Among all this wreckage, we saw Quan Su remained in the eye of the storm. He didn't move. He didn't celebrate. And with those creepy, milky white eyes, he didn't even blink. He stood there perfectly still, staring holes into T.C. Adams' unconscious body with an intensity that felt like a physical weight weighing down on the room. And folks, as the ending credits began to roll, the ring was a portrait of dominance. Killing Cutter and the Monarchy stood together, over the fallen. This was not an alliance that I thought I would see anytime soon, but I think we can all agree that it was an alliance out of necessity and an alliance that proved to be quite powerful. Outside of the ring, Brandon Buck stood tall over the remains of Dump Truck with a somewhat rude gesture here, hoisting up the .com King Championship high into the air while staring straight down at Dump Truck. The final frame of the night, y'all, was this tight shot of Quan Su's face, looking unmoving, looking unbreakable, and very clearly telling us that he was focused entirely on the broken man that laid at his feet. His red-tinted intensity just fuming off of him, a silent promise for T.C. Adams that while Gully Guns may be next, the nightmare for TC is just beginning.
I don't like what happened here. All right? I was ganged up on, okay? Well, I can't say this because it's on a PG show, but listen, I was ganged up on, Brother Ambrose, by these two fools and those two fools over there in the corner. I was ganged up on, okay? All right, I didn't have a good night. I didn't have a good Sunday night heat or war. See, I was so dazed and confused, I forgot the name of the show. I was ganged up on, unfairly ganged up on. Unfairly. You know what?
I don't know if I'd say that it was unfair. It does seem like you keep putting yourself in positions that you're not really good at getting yourself out of.
unfairly ganged up on.
If it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
And to make matters worse, you know what I just saw on Smoky Mountain's social networks, social media platforms? I saw that I have to defend this green ticket championship not only against Reggie Walker, but also Chase Havoc in a triple threat match? Oh my gosh. Against two undeserving individuals I was ganged up on, and now I have to defend my championship against two undeserving individuals? Are you kidding me? This is the worst. I hate this.
It sounds like the Smoky Mountain universe, at least in the locker room, is getting sick of your shenanigans, TC.
Well, I'm getting sick of their shenanigans, and when I become the World Heavyweight Champion, things are going to change drastically.
To do that, you have to retain your title next week on the pay-per-view against not one, but two gentlemen that are looking for blood.
Well, we'll see if they'll do that, and we'll see if you can prevail in your one-on-one match with JC Renegade. We'll see all kinds of other action on top of that with the Queen main eventing the pay-per-view against her husband, Beast Mode, for the World Heavyweight Championship. That is all coming up next week on Sunday Night War. It is the pay-per-view. We have reached the pay-per-view breaking point. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you joined us this evening for the show. I have to thank Brother Ambrose. Otherwise, I can't do this alone. I would like to do it alone, but the higher-ups feel it's necessary that I have a partner. So thank you, Brother Ambrose, for joining me for this week. Go ahead. Thank me, too.
Lorenzo, I appreciate you trusting me in this position, even if, honestly, some weeks it feels more like a punishment than a blessing.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, your Redeemer, TC Adams. That is Brother Ambrose, and we look forward to Smoky Mountain Wrestling's Breaking Point. Have a wonderful evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you all real soon.